What's up, guys? Rhett here. Got a kind of a different kind of video for you today. And I've played around with this idea now for a couple weeks. People have been asking me for months. I know there's a lot of real estate people out there that do videos of their garages, and I've always been kind of against it. But I think at this point, you guys who watch my channel all the time understand what we're about. We're about business, we're about humility. You guys know I'm not flashy. I'm wearing a 2-year-old sweatshirt here and 3-year-old shoes. You guys know this isn't clickbait, this isn't about flash, but at one point I want to stop talking and I want to show you guys also what, if you do the stuff the right way, what you can achieve and the things that you can have, the fun you can have. I know we talk a lot about business. We don't really talk about a lot of the fun stuff on the channel. So for you guys that have been hounding me about doing a video like this is fun, and I want to show you a small glimpse of some things that I do outside of real estate, some things that we spend all that money on that we make, right, aside from investing in new properties. So this is my personal kind of fun garage, stuff that I can't really take to properties, and you guys usually see me driving around in my new Ford Raptor. It's a great truck for kind of what we do. Always on the road, looking at new houses, looking at places to buy. Sometimes we're in rougher areas. It's a great truck for all of that, and I just got that. So this is my collection that you can't take to houses, okay? And you can't take to every neighborhood in the country. Stuff that, you know, I've been collecting for a matter of years, and stuff that I'll continue to add to that I think will continue to increase in value, and stuff that's fun to drive, because we gotta have fun too, right? We're working, but we also gotta have fun. So I'm gonna give you kind of a quick tour. I'm not gonna talk about everything in here because there is a lot of stuff. There's almost $2 million worth of stuff in here. If you have questions about it, hit me in the comments and we can dive in. A lot of this stuff I've bought at auctions from private sellers, car auctions, Mecum, Barrett-Jackson, really cool places where you find things that you can't find anywhere else. Some things that I've never seen before, and I've said, I gotta have that. All right, so without further ado, let's kind of walk on in. This is a 2021 Corvette Stingray. It's the C8, 500 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. This is an insane car. I had to have it. They actually modeled the driver's seat after a cockpit, and we'll bring you over there from a fighter jet cockpit. And you guys can see that as we make our way over here. But this car's insane. When this thing starts up, it sounds like a cigarette boat. It's an absolute monster. It's so fun to drive. And of everything in this garage, I love driving kind of old muscle cars, but when you have new technology like this, and Chevy had been working on this for a long time, kind of in secret. So when it came out, I had to have it. I've had this for about a year, and it is it's a trip. So if you guys follow me over this way, you guys can take a peek inside. And this is one of those cars where you look at it, you go, wow, that doesn't look like a Corvette. I love the old school Stingrays, and I've been looking for one to kind of add to my collection. So I figured, why don't we get the new school, and then when we get a really cool old Stingray, we'll add it to the collection, put them side by side, and it'll look really cool. So come on over here. I want to show you guys inside the cockpit of this thing. This thing's a monster. Really cool. Really comfortable for the driver. Not so comfortable for a passenger all the time, but not a lot of room. You guys can see back here, engine's exposed. This is a convertible. Engine's in the back of this thing. It kind of takes on that European ideology of pushing the car instead of pulling it. Okay? And then while we're over here, guys, so the past couple years, I've looked into collecting other things other than cars. So I have a lot of Coke machines, an old bazooka machine, old school, you know, snack machines. All this stuff has been refurbished, but it's all original stuff, okay? So all these Coke machines here are extremely collectible. There's a Coke machine here from just about every generation, from the early 1900s to the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. Crazy stuff, you know, like water bubblers attached to units. This is a little bit of an older model, you know, compared to some of these other ones from the early 1900s. But, you know, Coke, super collectible. And it's one of those things that, yeah, it looks really cool and it's different, but it also is a really good investment because as time goes on, these things become more and more valuable, okay? Like I said, guys, I'm not going to go too in-depth with this because this video would be like 4 hours long. So if you have questions or comments, drop them below. We can talk about any of this stuff in-depth in the comments, and please do. I invite you to do so. Guys, moving to this. This is the first car that I added to the collection. It's an absolute monster. This is a Chevy Camaro. It's a 1969 RS SS. Okay, it's got a monster 454 engine in it. It's a stick shift. It's completely redone on the inside. It's got all new upholstery inside. It's a complete monster, guys, as far as Camaros are concerned. Got a couple Camaros in here, and this one is one of my favorites. It's not the easiest car to drive because the stick shift on it can be a little tricky. You know, when you talk about these transmissions from the 1960s, they're definitely not the easiest cars to drive, but you know, nonetheless, it's a monster. It's got an old school 454 in it that's been completely rebuilt. I want to show you guys that. And it only has 600 miles on this engine. So it absolutely tears it up. It's a big block V8 monster. Okay, I really love the builds of these Chevy Camaros from this point in time. So I have a couple of them, all right? Moving over here, this is a 1967 Chevy Camaro RS 350. Okay, so that's a 454 engine. This is a 350 engine. It's a little smaller. It's not as fast, but with this paint job, I had to have it. Okay, if you guys come over here, you can see, you know, the detail in the paint job, and inside here you have all original upholstery. In here, this is an automatic. Okay, so a lot easier to drive, more fun to drive. Bought this one at auction about 2.5 years ago. It's got, you know, new steering wheel. It's got original gauges, however, for speedometers and that sort of thing. But, you know, it's a beast, and I have a lot of fun driving this thing around. So I really love the build. I love the way that these things look. These things are sweet. So I enjoy it. Over here, guys, we have just a collection of air pumps and super collectible, all original refurbished gas pumps from all different times in the 1900s, okay? Dating back to literally, I think the oldest one in here is from 1907, dating all the way up through the 19th century, all throughout the United States. Super collectible stuff, guys. Things that I've just spent a couple of years getting into, and you know, it's one of those things where I want to have stuff that is a little bit different, okay? Stuff that not everybody has, and this is definitely one of those things. They're collector's items that when you go to people's garages, you don't really see old stuff like this, and that's kind of what I'm going for in here. Now we have the new school Corvette. But as far as the overall vibe of this place, as you guys can tell, I love kind of older muscle cars. So again, right here, again, we have another Chevy Camaro right here. Again, this is another 350 RS. It's a 1967 also. This is a little bit different. So usually the cars that I buy, they're unbelievable paint jobs, like super attentive to detail when they were refurbished or rebuilt. This is a little bit rougher. However, this is built solely as a drag racing car, and I'll show you why. It was one of those things I just had to have it added to the collection and you know, pull up to a red light late at night when nobody's around and see what it has in it. It's one of those things, and you guys can come over here. You'll see the actual size of the tires on this thing. They're insanely large. They're just crazy. They're about 11 to 12 inches wide, and if you guys come around here, you'll see that on the dash, if you guys head on in there, on the dash, all the gauges are crazy. You feel like you're driving NASCAR with all the gauges on the inside. Just a lot different. Again, guys, this is an automatic too, so it's easier to drive than some of the stick shift cars. And you know, It's got a big engine. It's got a 350 V8, which was the most common for these that were made in the 1967 models. And it's just kind of outfitted. It's got some turbo, some supercharged stuff in that 350, which make it unbelievably fast. If you punch it too hard, this thing will just go crazy, kind of up on two wheels. It's a monster. So, kind of coming over here, guys. I got the Honda dirt bike right here. Thing's a monster, also. You know, I don't get it out very much just because I don't want to kill myself, but it's fun and it's cool. It's a good conversation piece. Some people love dirt bikes. And then, guys, kind of as we make our way over here, I want to talk about this thing for a little bit. So this is a 1968 Shelby GT 500 Mustang, and this is kind of the crown jewel of the collection. It has a 428 Cobra Jet engine inside. There are actually only a couple of these models. Now that has been all rebuilt, but as far as the body work goes on it and the originality of it, this is you don't really get a lot like this. And if you guys come over here, you can kind of see the detail that was put into this. It's all original Cobra GT, and I've had this for about a year and a half. One of these sold at auction about 4 months ago for $480,000. I don't intend on getting rid of this anytime soon. It's an automatic as well, and it's an absolute pleasure to drive. If you guys come over here, you can tell everything in there is original upholstery in there as well. Now the dashboard has a bunch of new gauges, and a lot of that stuff has been redone. But for the most part, this car is unbelievably original. And I've had a ton of offers for people who want to buy it, all of them well into the six figures. So this is one of those things, guys, that you think you might have forever. A lot of times with cars, you have them for a little bit, maybe you sell them, you find something else. A lot of the stuff in here, I love, and I'll never get rid of, especially this monster right here. I call it the Batmobile. It's super slick. Every time you bring it out on the road, people are like, what is that thing? And I feel like that's kind of with a lot of this stuff. And you know, it's not always the head turning, super brand new, super expensive stuff, but it's the old school, you know, people don't have them. They're just done the right way, and they're super nice. And you know, guys, I wanted to wait to do this video because I wanted you guys to make sure that you knew who I was, you knew what position I was coming from. You understand that we do business first and then we do pleasure later, right? We work hard, we play harder, okay? But in order to get to this level of achievement, we got to make sure that we do the work part, okay? We do the real estate aspect of this thing. We do this thing the right way. So when it comes to playing around, you guys can get things that other people can't get. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to wait to do this video so you understood where I'm coming from. You guys know that I'm not flashy at all. It's one of the reasons why I don't drive these things in videos. They stay in the garage unless it's a beautiful day, and I take them out, take care of them in here. We have mechanics that come in here, make sure the oils are good, all the engines are good, make sure everything's good to go before we take them out. But, you know, I want you guys to also know that this stuff is achievable for you. This is not out of the realm of possibility for any of you, especially as we continue to see that more and more people can get into property. More and more people can take advantage of the lenders that we're using, of the coaching program, right? I have people joining the coaching program every day, and people are buying their first property, second property, third property, fourth property. People that have never invested in real estate before are now at 10 properties. And that's how you get this stuff, guys. And you can do this by being an out-of-state investor, living in California, living in Canada, living in Florida, wherever, living in Texas, wherever you are. We can find you markets to get into to where you can create passive cash flow, gain appreciation on your properties, leverage properties, buy stuff like this, do cool stuff, okay? So I implore you to do so. All my info is below. You guys can reach out to me anytime, shoot me an email. We'd love to see you in the Discord. We talk about a lot of this stuff. I actually bounced a lot of the ideas for this video off of the people in the Discord to make sure that it was time for this, and that I wasn't coming off, you know, as too flashy. So guys, thanks for watching as always, and I know this is a little bit different, not as much business related as our other videos, but I appreciate you guys, and leave your questions and comments below for anything we didn't talk about in here, any questions you may have, and we'll see you next time.